Hi everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Karlie and this is a mostly knitting channel where sometimes we do talk about other things like sewing or natural dyeing. Today we have only knitting to talk about. I have a lot of finished objects to discuss and we also have a giveaway winner to announce. So let's get started. We'll start with the finished objects and then we've got one whip and some plans to talk about, and then at the very end we'll announce the giveaway winner. So let's start with some finished objects here. We've got the Colorwork Cuff Club by Summer Lee. I've shown these a couple times here on this channel and I finally have my pair done. This is my second pair from the Colorwork Cuff Club. This is the August bonus chart. And this is using my own naturally dyed yarn in 100% BFL yarn. So I didn't put them on the blockers this time because I've just been noticing that the sock blockers, although they are for my size of foot, like lengthwise, my feet are extremely narrow, and every time I put them on the blocker, it stretches out the sock so much and it ends up like not fitting my foot that well after I block it, and it really annoys me because then it's all loose and baggy and I hate that feeling. So I've just kind of stopped blocking them and I think it works really well. Now it doesn't look as nice when I'm showing it on here because it's not laying flat, but it fits my foot a lot better and it's tighter and it just feels better on my foot. So I do like to block them, I guess, to take pictures of them if they're not on my feet when I'm taking pictures. But that's pretty much it. Other than that, I don't see the need to block them and stretch them out that much. Unless I could find some sock blockers that were good enough for my length of foot but a lot narrower, then I'd be happy to try those out. But for now, just soaking them in water and laying them flat to dry I think will do just fine. So I won't spend too much time on these because I've mentioned and talked about them a couple of times before already, but these are top-down socks. I just did 10 rows of 2x2. I've got some pretty simple color work here. It's really fun and easy and memorizable. And then I did about 15 rows or so before I went and did a short row heel and then just stockinette for the foot. So I'm very happy to have two of these now and ready to wear over the coming cooler months. I also just wanted to share, so these have not been worn yet, and this is my first time knitting with and using BFL yarn for socks. So it's 100% BFL. There's no nylon, there's no superwash in this yarn. So I've been really curious about it. So for example, this is not been worn at all. So this is just some freshly knitted socks without any wear in them. And these are my other pair of Colorwork Cuff Club socks that I have here. And I've shown these before a couple times, but these are also BFL, and I just wanted to share these with you because I've worn these maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I've worn them a lot, like almost every day. I've kind of been wearing socks underneath, like some thin socks, and these on top, and I've been wearing them in boots. I've been going on walks with them with boots on. I've been just wearing them everywhere, and I just really wanted to see what the wear was like. So I'll show you at the back here, the back heel. There's some pilling, but it's really like looking good, I think. And a bit of pilling at the top here and just a little bit around the cuffs, but overall it's pretty good, I would say. And here's like the heel and the toe, and so far so good. And like I said, I've been really wearing them and not being precious with them at all. I just kind of wanted to see how they would hold up, and I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but so far it's better than what I thought it would be, and I'm really happy with it. And they've been washed a couple of times since then, just being in boots and stuff. And so yeah, there's like a bit of pilling. I don't know if it's coming across on the camera, but nothing bad at all. And the yarn is holding up really well. The color's holding up. So I'm really happy. And just in comparison, like this is the unworn pair and this is the pair that's been worn for multiple weeks. And it's pretty good. So hopefully that's just kind of a good indication of what's to come for this BFL yarn and for socks in BFL. I know I kind of won't know until I have them for a few months and I'm really wearing them, but I think that's a pretty good start, and I have high hopes for them, so I'm excited about that. So those are my socks. I don't have any other socks on the go. Actually, no, I do. I haven't really worked on them too much, but I do have some updates for this sock, so I'm excited to share that all with you. These are my brick and mortar socks, a pattern by myself. And again, I haven't really done too much since I last shared these with you all. I've just done the the leg, the heel here, which is like a strong heel, and I'm going into the foot. So I haven't done any progress since we last spoke, but this is a pattern written by myself, and I've mentioned these a ton before, and I've mentioned that I'm writing the pattern and it's been ongoing and there's been some hiccups along the way, but I'm really, really excited to tell you that the pattern is now completely done. It's been professionally tech edited and I'm super, super excited about it. So it is ready for testers, but I don't really know when I'm going to do the test call yet because we are entering Advent knitting season, and I know a lot of people are currently gift knitting right now, so I'm not sure if this would be the best time to do a test knit. I know it is just socks, so I would only need the test knitters to finish one sock by the deadline, and I was thinking maybe a month timeline wise to just do one sock. I think that's pretty fair, but again, I'm so flexible. If the test knitters wanted longer, that'd be fine too. So anyways, what I was thinking was doing the test knit in the new year, maybe just like right after Christmas time, and hopefully that gives people a bit more time for a test knit, but I'm not so sure. Maybe let me know what you guys think, if people would be interested in doing a test knit in December. I am still leaning towards the new year just because I think it'll be a better time for everybody, but very excited to share that the test knit is coming very soon and that all the pattern writing is done. And yeah, if anybody is looking for a tech editor, just let me know and I can refer you to Agnes, who was the tech editor for these socks, and she just does an amazing job. So yeah, I'll definitely announce here on YouTube and on Instagram when I am calling for test knitters for these socks. So just keep an eye out. But yeah, I'd love some feedback on what you guys think, if December is too busy a month for people to do test knits. I personally think it is, but again, I'd love some feedback. Okay, the next finished object is the Anker sweater by Petite Knit. I was knitting this for my nephew for a Christmas present, and it was almost done last time I showed it, and I'm very happy to say that it's done now. Here's the cute little sweater. It's a top-down circular yoke with a bit of raglan increases at the bottom of the circular yoke. It's got 1x1 ribbing for the circular yoke here, and then plain stockinette for the body and the sleeves. So I knit size 2 to 3 in this. I believe I use a 4mm needle, and this one was on my needles from October 26th to November 16th. It's very quick knit. I didn't work on it throughout that entire time period, but it was basically probably like a 5-day knit. It was very quick. And I'm very excited about it because the yoke is super stretchy because of the 1x1 ribbing. And I think it'll be great for him because he's 1 year old now, but I did sizes 2 to 3. So I think this will be really good for him to grow into and something that he can wear now with just the sleeves rolled up, and he'd be just fine. So I did knit this in Estelle worsted. And this is 50% acrylic, 40% wool, and 10% nylon. And one ball of this yarn is 218 yards, and I believe I used one whole skein and maybe just the tiniest bit of a second skein, so I almost got a whole baby sweater out of that. So I'm really excited to have this done. I think he's going to look so cute in this. It matches his winter jacket too, which is great. And it's a festive red color, so I think it'll be a good Christmas gift for him, or a good time to give it to him. I knit him the Anker's cardigan, or the Anker's jacket, for when he was a newborn. So I'm excited to have this pattern kind of going on for him, and I'll probably make him another one again in the future when he outgrows this one. I won't spend too much time talking on that because I did mention in the episode before, and it's just a really simple top-down baby's knit. And I also do have another children's knit to share with you as a finished object, and this is for his sister. So I knit a semi-matching Christmas sweater for his sister, and I did the Harald's jumper by Petite Knit, and I knit sizes 3 to 4. I believe I used 4mm needles again, and this one was also quick knit. It was November 17th to November 22nd. I really wanted to get this one done. And this one is the Harald's jumper. So this one is for my niece. This one was also really fun. I did do a little bit of modifications here. The neckline was supposed to be double folded. I just did a single layer for the neckline because I was afraid that it would just be too tight with it being folded down. And it was already so tight when I was casting it on. Since blocking it, it's loosened up a lot, so I'm happy about that. But I just thought a single folded collar, or a single layer collar, I guess, would be just fine, and I think it looks great. And so this is just another version of a ribbed circular yoke, similar to the Anker's, but the rib gradually gets larger as you progress down the yoke, and it's one continuous piece rather than the fragmented, kind of broken up sections of ribbing that you see here. So I like that they're super similar and close to one another, but also different. And of course, they're in their matching colors as well. And I wanted them to be different because eventually my nephew will be wearing this sweater. It'll be handed down to him, and I didn't want him to get the exact same sweater again. So I thought that this would be a good option to have really close sweaters, but not quite 100% matching. So this is knit in the exact same yarn that Estelle worsted. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned the color if you're interested. There's no color name, but the color is Q612962. I can't wait to see my niece in this sweater and my nephew in his sweater as well. And hopefully they can be matching maybe on Christmas Day, although knowing my sister, she probably has their Christmas Day outfits purchased or planned out already. But around the Christmas season, I would love to see them wearing their newly knit sweaters, and I think they'd be so cute and precious in them. Knitting for my niece and nephew just gives me so much joy. It's so much fun, and they're at the age now too where just the knitting is so quick and so easy, so I have no problem knitting for them. As they get older, we'll see how that works out, but at the moment, being that they're so small and tiny, I'm really enjoying knitting for them. I also knit this in size 3 to 4 for my niece, and she's going to turn 3 in January. So this will be a little bit oversized for her, I think, but again, it's something that she can grow into and just roll up the sleeves a little bit if she needs, and she can wear leggings if it's a little bit long for her. So yes, I think that these are going to be a hit. I have one last finished object to share, and this one is super exciting because this was my final gift knit. I'm officially done gift knitting for Christmas and for the rest of the year, and I could not be more excited because I feel like I've been gift knitting for months and months and just knitting for others for a really long time. So I'm finally getting back into knitting for myself again, and it's just really made me excited and super happy, and just it's like refueling my creativity, and I'm just so excited about it. So this one is quite damp. I just finished it yesterday and was blocking it yesterday. I'm still blocking it, it's just drying, but I knit another Essentials beanie by Andrea Gaughan, this one for my brother-in-law. And I knit this in Queensland Collection Fair Isle in the colorway Sandbar, and this was gifted to me by Knitting Fever. And I knit this in the adult size large, and this was on my needles from November 25th to the 27th, so it's a nice quick knit, This is a bottom up beanie or toque. It's 2x2 rib, and then it's also got really amazing crown decreases that look super neat and tidy. So this is my brother-in-law's version. Again, this is quite damp still, so it's quite loose and flimsy at the moment. And this is all full, like rolled out, but it is supposed to look like this. I think this will be good for my brother-in-law. My sister was saying he kind of needs a hat that goes with a blue jacket. I didn't have too much blue yarn or any in my stash really that would work for that, except for this yarn that's self-striping. So I thought this would be good, and I didn't know how this was going to work out when it came to the crown decreasing and getting to a smaller circumference and how this striping would look. I was hoping that it wouldn't look too out of place with the consistent striping up here, and then it gets thicker as you get to the crown, but it's not too bad, I don't think. I think it's pretty good. And as you can see there, like that's the really clean crown decreases that I just love with this pattern. This is my third time knitting this hat. I shared another essential beanies in the last episode that was for my father-in-law, and I've knit myself one as part of the test knit a year and a bit ago. It's just a really simple, easy hat. It also has options for multiple yarn weights, so it's perfect for scrap busting as well. So when I was knitting this, there was a knot in the yarn, and so as you can see from about here to here, there is a consistent striping. Then we get to this point and it changes, it almost reverses the stripe pattern. And that's because there was a knot in the yarn, and where the yarn was tied together, it didn't resume the exact spot where it should have been. So it reversed the order of the stripes. I hope that's making sense. So at first I was like, oh, that's a bit annoying, but it actually worked out in my favor, because when it's completely unfolded like that, the color striping like mirrors each other. It doesn't match. But because this has a brim and it's folded up, now the brim and the top of the hat, the striping matches. So that was helpful. That worked out really well. And I'm glad it did. I didn't really realize that it would work in my favor until a few rows in, and I folded it up and I thought, oh, this is actually going to work just fine. I hope that's making sense. But anyways, the hat worked out really well. I'm going to put it down now because I don't want to stretch it out too much since it is quite damp. And actually I have the yarn band here if you're interested. It's Queensland Collection Fair Isle. And this is like a worsted weight yarn. This is color 103. And it's 75% superwash and 25% nylon. I think I forgot to mention what I'm wearing today. I'm just wearing a regular black tee, but I am wearing these granny square earrings that I shared, I think back in the summer. These were crocheted with some leftover Knitting for Olive pure silk in the color powder. I just did a really simple granny square and then attached some tassels to the end and a little hook for an earring. So that's something really fun to do with some lightweight yarn if you have some laying around in really small quantities. It was really fun to make. It's super quick. It's also a great gift knit if you're looking for some last minute gift knit ideas. That's it for finished objects, and I have one whip to share with you all. So I mentioned before I have the Advent from last year of Big Little Yarn Co. It was the Day at the Museum collection in Advent form, and I started it with some project, and then I ended up not liking how it was looking in this particular project, but I still really loved the yarn and I really want to use the yarn. And I actually started my Advent a little bit early this year, and I can share it with all of you because this is last year's Advent. All the colors have been released. Big Little Yarn Co., Mel of Big Little Yarn Co. has actually released a Day at the Museum collection outside of the Advent, so if you're interested in any of these colors, she is selling these separately as like main large skeins as well. So I decided to do the Traveler Shawl by Andrea Mowry, which was completely inspired by Laura Penrose. I was watching her last podcast episode, and she was talking about her Advents and what project she wanted to do, and she mentioned the Traveler Shawl, and as soon as she mentioned that as a possibility for herself, I could immediately picture a Traveler Shawl in this yarn, and so I think I cast it on that day. I couldn't wait any longer, so I cast it on November 22nd, so I'm a little early this year, but I don't care. This is last year's advent and I'm just having fun with it, and it just, yeah, I'm having a blast. So I think I've gone through 5 colors so far, and I did rearrange the color order from the days that they were packaged in. I rearranged it to make it as much of a fade as possible, so that there aren't too many harsh lines in the color change. And I am gradually adding in new colors with this. So I'll do my one color, and then I'll do a row of the second color, and then 2 rows of the color I was first working with, and then alternate colors for a little while, and then introduce the second color again. So I'm just trying to do somewhat of a fade, and it's been so much fun. And I've been wanting to do something from the Travelers collection from Andrea Mowry for a while now, so this is just a great push to get me to cast that on. So let me show you here what I've got. So this is the beginnings of a Traveler Shawl. I'm hoping to do the largest size. There are 2 sizes for the Traveler Shawl. It's really fun. It's just a mixture of knits and purls, basically. I can get closer here. And I think the fade, or the gradual progression of colors, is turning out okay. Yeah, from afar, actually, I think it looks really good. I'm really excited about this. So I've been having a blast knitting on this. I get so excited every time it's time for a color change, and I'm also weaving in my ends as I go. So you can see here, this was in the midst of a color change, just alternating between the 2 colors between every other row or so. So on either end, I do have quite a bit of ends to weave in, but every time I do a color change, I'll knit about like an inch or so after the color change, and then I'll go in and weave in these ends. And I really don't mind weaving in ends when there's an I-cord edging like there is here, because it makes it so easy to just weave in the ends into a couple of stitches, and then I put the tail through the rest of the I-cord, and that's just always worked out really well for me, and I find it super easy to weave in these ends. So another thing that I'm doing is, I think I'm using in total 20 mini skeins instead of the 24. I chose my favorite, and I also chose the ones that were the most cohesive and had like really a good color progression, if that makes sense. The ones that worked best together to work for like a good, not really a fade, but to just, you know, blend the colors really well. So I chose 20 colors for that. Put them in the order that I wanted, and then with the 20 mini skeins, I calculated that I would have way more yarn than I would need, and obviously that's a good thing to have more yarn than what's needed rather than less, but that also meant that I would eventually get to the end and wouldn't have been able to gone through all of the colors that I wanted in there. So basically I just did some calculations, and I knew that I needed to do about like 70% of each mini skein. So as I'm doing each color, I'll knit until there's about 10 grams left. I'll weigh it, and then at that point I'll introduce the new color, and then I'll start alternating the colors for a bit. And then I know once I'm about 7 grams left of the color, then that's time for it to go in the basket. I'll use it for another project, and that's a way for me to ensure that I get the same amount of colors for every single of the 20 mini skeins that I've selected for this project. I hope that's making sense. I feel like I'm being terrible at explaining things today. Words aren't coming out as I want them to, but basically, yeah, I'm just using around 13 grams of each color in order to ensure that I get all of the 20 mini skeins into this shawl here. So I'm so excited about this. It's starting out light goldy yellow, as you can see, turns into a deeper gold, and then little bits of blue are being introduced, and pretty soon it's going to be quite blue. And then after that, I believe some of the peaches and pink start to come in. The next skeins are like peach and blue. So I'll get into the blue, I'll fade out of the blue with a bit of peach, and then I think it turns into some pink and then some purples and then into some like darker, more saturated colors at the very end. So I think it's going to be really fun, really pretty, and I'm so excited to be working on it this year. And I've been wanting a shawl for a long time. I've been wanting to knit some shawls, and I just haven't gotten around to it. And I find that Advent knitting is perfect for shawl knitting. It's kind of a perfect time to just set aside your special yarn or a special time of the year and knit on a fun shawl. I've been really enjoying it anyway, and hopefully I'll have this done before Christmas. I did start this way earlier than it's supposed to, so I think it's very much doable to be done by Christmas. And also, this isn't an Advent pattern, so it's not like broken down by days or anything. But I think at the rate that I'm going, it's fairly doable to work on it a little bit each day and get done before Christmas. And I hope I am, because I'd love to wear this. Even just wearing it now is quite fun. So that's my Advent whip, and I'm so glad I was able to share it with you and not spoil any colorways. I guess that's the benefit of waiting a whole year to work on your Advent. That's all for whips, and I do have some plans to share with you all, but before we get into the plan segment, let's announce the winner of last episode's giveaway. So the giveaway from the last episode was a book from Jenny Vonderer called Spin Me a Yarn, and then a little mini bundle of naturally dyed mini skeins here. If this is you here on the screen, please send me an email. The email will be on the screen and is also linked down below. Just email me with your shipping information and I'll get this sent out to you as soon as I can. Just a little note though, I am coming to you from Canada, and Canada Post is currently on strike, so I'm not sure when I'll be able to get this shipped out, but I'll try my best and I'll just keep you up to date. Okay, let's get to plans. So I'm really enjoying the Traveler Shawl right now, so that's taking up a lot of my time. But another plan that I have, and one that I'm very excited about, is actually a slipover, which I haven't knit before for myself. And this is the Tuku warmer slipover. And I bought the pattern just the other day, and I'm really excited to get started on this. I do have the yarn for it. I'm going to be using Juniper Moon, I believe it's Saxony, and it's in the color Feldgrau, I believe. I started a shawl with this a little while ago, but I don't want it for a shawl anymore, so I'm going to rip that out and turn it into the slipover. What drew me to this slipover was that it's got some nice, I believe it's 2x2 ribbing of a neckline turtleneck or mock. You could probably decide that on your own. And then the rest is knit flat in garter stitch, but it looks like you knit the neck first in the round, and then you start knitting flat for the front and then flat for the back, and then you seam the sides together. And I just liked the look of the garter stitch for this one, and I just liked the idea of knitting it flat and seaming it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I think it's going to be really fun and a good quick knit. I also think that this yarn in particular will look really good in garter stitch, so that's partly why I chose this pattern. I also have a top in mind that I think will look really pretty underneath the slipover. It's got really dainty floral pattern on it and big billowy balloon sleeves with some ties that dangle, and it's just so cute. And I think it would be perfect with a slipover over top, and it'll be just a great piece to have for winter time. I want to start that pretty soon. I'd actually really love to have this for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to be too long of a knit. I think it'll be pretty doable to finish by then. So hopefully next time I do a podcast, I'll have some of that to show you. And I'll also be working on my field day jacket by Ozetta as well. I hope to have some more progress on that the next time I talk with you as well. That's all there is today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll hopefully see you in the next couple of weeks. But if not, I'll definitely see you at the end of December for the Everything I Knit in 2024 video. Until then, happy knitting, and I'll see you all later.